What's up, guys? It's time for a 15 plus 10. I didn't have the most wonderful night's sleep, but let's see who we get. Let's see what we get. We've got a 1461. I'm going to play d4. I've been looking at, interesting, Simon Williams and Naroditsky have both brought out a Jobava London course in the last few days or weeks or whatever. Yeah, so Naroditsky's done his with another grandmaster whose name I forget. So I'm going to just try and see if I can remember a little bit of theory on that, because it is it is good. Okay, so here we reach. So I mean, you can get here via one d5 or one knight f6 as well, but this is like the default opening position. Okay, there we have an immediate c5, and here already I haven't covered this. Didn't get this far. I'm starting to build a study on it. Okay, my knight b5 I know is a move, right? If they play, for example, e6 here, then it is knight b5. The point is that you're simply threatening knight c7, hitting the king, forcing the king to move, and then winning the rook. And to get out of this, there's a couple of ideas. This is not on. This is one of them. But if they play e6, you put your knight in there, they come out with check. And then when you block the check, they come back and defend that square with the bishop, which is kind of nifty, but you don't see that at lower levels, apparently, according to Danya. So, the other thing is knight to a6 defends this square. Now, the point of this is, if I come in here and they play knight a6 is a weakening move. And then, not in this case specifically, but I know if e6, then you do this and you prompt knight a6, then you move your knight back, which looks kind of weird. But the point is that this knight is now also awkward. And if it goes to c7 instead of c6, it's going to be hampered. So let's try it. My concern is that if I bring my knight back to c3, it doesn't really have much to do, but it's on a good square anyway. It's controlling central squares, and it's time to go back to development. Now, what's he got other than knight a6? How does he defend c7? He's not going to sacrifice his queen. This knight can't defend. I mean, it could if either of these squares was unoccupied, but they ain't. So, and this is just deadly. He's got to play knight a6. And I don't even have to move my knight then. I think the move from memory in the e6 line at least is just e3, and then if he attacks my knight, I then move back and carry on with my day. And after moving e3, I've got knight e2 as well. That's an idea. Of course, after e3, if he attacks it... Okay, well, this is all right. Interesting one, that. Okay. So now I think I have to move my knight back, right? I'm in check, so yeah, knight back is the move. Okay, interesting. So maybe that wasn't the move, but the point is that we're learning, and the great thing about playing slower time controls is that the learning sticks a bit better, I think. Now, if he takes here, I've got queen takes, that's fine. Okay, now that's maybe an issue now. You know what I mean? Right, so I could take here, then knight comes in, I just grab it. Here, queen takes. I could drop my bishop back and hurry the queen away, but that's not a great place to put a bishop, is it? Do I want to capture here? Or do I want to defend again? Kind of like the idea of e3 still, because I have maybe this. There, pawn takes. Pawn takes. If I take here, I'm actually a pawn up. I don't expect to retain that pawn indefinitely, but then I also have two attackers on this. So of course he's got the immediate queen recaptures. Okay, I'm going to play e3 then. So this is great. This is an opportunity now for me to go into the c5 Jobava line and study that. You know, if we want a little bit of a break from the Vienna, expect to see a lot more Jobava games being played than around the intermediate level. So Ginger GM, I think, has brought out his original Jobava course. Then he's done one on Chessable, and now he's brought out another kind of video course. Okay, we get a6. This is preventing bishop b5, I think. Knight f3 seems to be screaming out now, and I can't think of a single reason not to play it. So there we go. I want to develop, I want to castle. This I'm not worried about now. I can recapture with the knight. So we've got a kind of Sicilian version going off here with c5, you see. Well, I was going to put my bishop there anyway, so that's a non-issue. And after my knight comes out, I can't take there. He's going to want to play this pawn at some point. He's not going to, I don't think he's going to play e5 because I'll just take. And that gets me out of this risk of trading a, okay, so he's attacking b2. We do have this move. And what I like about that is that, because it defends the pawn, this is a move to remember. This should be a quick release tool belt thing, right? But I'm also hitting this pawn the second time. I hit the queen. The queen has to move. I'm defending b2. Let's say like the queen goes, not great, mate, not great. Now I win the pawn. And my woes have subsided for the time being. And I'm a happy camper now. I am a happy camper. This queen is looking bad. Something bad is happening in Oz. Okay. I discovered attack on the knight by the bishop. I could do the old London c3 trick. I kind of like to move the knight. How about knight d3? With giving me good control over e5. And then maybe c3 as well, you know? Yeah, I liking. Misa like this. I'm a pawn up, man. And you kind of, you want to get a feel for openings as well. How complex are they? How closed do they tend to be? How tactical do they tend to be? And it is the case that different openings have different characteristics. Okay, I think castles. He's preparing to castle. This bishop is really no better or worse than mine. Mine's at least blocking the pin there. I can move either knight to e5 now. I should consider that before I just auto-castle. Auto-castling is not good. Here, I'm attacking this knight. If he castles, right, his rook's going to be on f8. Yeah. So if I have a knight here, castles, I hit the rook's just going to move, right? Or I take this, but then bishop takes. So there's no real great advantage there. I'm just going to castle. Might play like queen d2, don't know. He might put his queen back here and renew his advances on b2. This really does put the question to that bishop because I'm attacking it twice. I don't think I want to kick it. It's kind of a sign of increasing maturity in chess where, you know, you don't necessarily have to kick straight away. Sometimes it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying it's a bad move. But it's becoming like more of a move where I need a jolly good reason to do it. Like, I might do it more freely in a 5-minute blitz, but I don't want to create the hook. Still kind of tempted for that. So here's the question. If I do this, what's going to happen? Okay. Well, let's say he takes. I can take with a knight, hit the bishop again. Okay, let's say he takes the bishop. I take with a queen. Right, his most aggressive piece is now off the board. I don't mind that at all. Knight takes. Knight takes. I mean, e5, knight e5 is a goal move. The question is which knight, because I have two of them that can go to e5. This one really puts the pressure on this bishop. And where's it going to go? What if it goes here? This one attacks the bishop. And then if it takes the knight, I keep my bishop. I'm doing this move. If knight takes bishop e5, this is not bad. I'm thinking c3. I'm thinking maybe rook b1 in case the queen does this, but I can always do that in the event. We're a pawn up. Which pawn is it? It's Charlie, the c pawn. Hello, Charlie. This is not a bad thing. Nice to have a knight in your opponent's half. It's a hook in the gills, that one. That right there is the bone in the throat. Okay, I have knight takes, I also have bishop takes. If knight takes, it feels like having a knight on that square is great, but at the same time my bishop is... It's stuck outside the pawn chain. It doesn't have much of a playground, to be honest. Do I want my bishop there as the threat? I feel like my bishop might have more scope on that square. Right, my bishop definitely gets more to breathe. It's attacking the knight. It's covering these squares, which aren't, you know, hyper important. But then, it's also looking down towards the king. Where it is right now, I just don't know. And, I'm keeping the bishop pair. If he wants to trade off here, then be my guest. This queen is not... now, notice the queen now can't go to b8 as well. So the queen actually only has one square to go to. If I play a4, a5, the queen is actually trapped. So I'll probably have to play the b pawn to release himself. Thinking bishop d3 maybe. I now have the option of taking out this knight, which is no bad thing. But how do I get my queen and my bishop lined up? Okay, that's simple. It's just c3. And here we have the London pyramid, right? So London players out there, a lot of this should be very familiar. A lot of similar ideas, and now we have a quick h6. Well, hidey, hidey, hi. I'm inclined to play queen d2. It defends the b2 pawn. Also now, if I do this and this, I've got bishop and queen. Taketh, taketh, queen d2. It's not a mistake. Pat Vinder, and is from Belgium. This prevents rook b1. If queen here, I could do that. I could just try and trade off. I mean, how do we feel about this light square bishop? This bishop is a bad bishop, right? Can't visit any of these squares right now. It'll just get captured. This bishop is a bit of a pain. So I am thinking about this. I'm thinking about shooing him away. You come back here. I could flip my knight around somewhere. It takes there, I think this is not bad. This pawn is now undefended. It was defended. Make all these mental notes, right? All the sum total of all these little post-its that you tell yourself every time something happens, which is frequent, then the sum total of all those little facts depends on what you notice. What do you notice on the board? And then how do you combine that information? Got a right bad knee and a right bad foot, and I'm feeling very, very, very old. Knight d2. If I take his knight, he gets doubled up here. Not brill. What's he doing there? I'm doing it. I'm pulling the trigger. Now notice that this g7 pawn is now potential weakness. If he pushes g6, f6, e6 becomes very weak. So this is what I'm after. I also have options of f4, f5 break, which can isolate this pawn as well. So I'm feeling okay. Okay, bishop is now tied to the defense of the knight. The bishop is tied to the defense of the knight if the bishop vacates. In fact, the bishop can't, we've already established this. Bishop can't go anywhere. Bishops go nowhere, brother. Okay, how about this move? e4 takes, knight takes. How about f4, f5? f4, f5. I don't know. E4's looking interesting. Create some tension. It's not like this moving this pawn is going to make a big... It's not going to benefit black in any way at all, I don't think. Right? He takes a pawn... So the thing about this pyramid is it's like a double pawn chain that meets at the point. So I can kind of break either side of it, and I still have a phalanx, so to speak. I feel like this might open up his bishop and give it a new lease of life, but to be fair, that bishop's going to have a job getting through my dark pyramid of doom. The knight is maybe a stronger piece. The big difference is my bishop is on the outside of the pyramid of doom, like his. But my one doesn't want to get in, unlike his. That's the big difference. Okay, here takes, knight takes. It's still not an attack, really. I don't know. I could just put rook a b1 down to 7 minutes. f4, f5 takes. That's getting kind of hairier. f3, e4 takes and pawn takes, opening up the rook. Kind of like that. It also takes a square away from the knight. Okay, sold. By the way, a little tip that you might find really helps your play is to write down, get yourself a pad, and write down on it for each move. These are the candidate moves that I considered. And make a note of moves where you're really not sure what to do, right? Keep a note of your mental thought processes as you're thinking through your move. And then when you analyze the game at the end, you can you can revisit that thought process to say, well, the best move that the machine says, should I have seen that move? Did I consider that move? Okay, he's having a look at my pawn. I'm not bothered. I don't want to break this, really. There's no great need. This would weaken this pawn here. So just keep it how it is. This is not a problem. I can just take. This queen takes, rook takes, queen. Right. I'm bang on 1550 right now, Rapid. My goal, I think, for the year is to get to 1700. I'd like to do that. or at least stay above 1600 would be great. I mean, I've been 1670 when I had just a purple patch run on probably on 10-minute games. I just seemed to be doing everything right for a few days, and you can really, you know. I think my rapid win streak is something like 19 games. So sometimes you just have the golden touch. But obviously we feel like we should be doing better at this point. It is kind of a grinding game. There's no flashy tactics on the cards. Okay, my first thought is f4. You want to take out my bishop? Yeah. Why not? Opens up my rook. If he takes up my bishop now and I recapture the d pawn, that's less favourable. If I do this, he's not going to come back. Oh, is he attacking my bishop? Is he just running away? Hard to say. I'm going to play this move. Gives my knight a square. I'd like to get my queen up. Ooh, you know what else that move does? We have a potential rook lift as well. But still, with if he does take here and I recapture, that would give me quite a blockade on the dark squares. It would mean his bishop would want to come over. Oh, man. Oh, dear. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That wasn't the smartest move. Casual. That's what it was. Casual. Okay. There you take. If I take here, what are you going to take with? Probably knight. I want to remove the pawn around his king. That was very silly move. Very silly move indeed. I'm talking about how his bishop's got no bloody squares, and then I go and trap my own. Like a fool. Okay. My knight wants to come into this square, doesn't it? So does his knight wants to come back here as well. So let's lift the rook now. I'm just going to prevent his knight from coming in. Loses a pawn. Okay, here. Bugger it. Put in all that hard work and then you do something just sloppy and careless. I actually felt like my attention was starting to wander a little bit. Do we have e4? Takes. I mean, he does have 3 pawn islands. That is something to my credit. And I have all my pawns still. He's down 2 pawns. Charlie and Freddie, they're not here. Queen in there, boom. He has to play rook there, doesn't he? Because he can't play the bishop back. Queen in here, rook here. So that first. Queen in here, rook here. I take this pawn because that one then is pinned. You can't recapture. And then my knight has a nice route into here. If his knight does get to e4, am I even bothered? Well, d2 hitting my rook could be annoying. So how about, I don't know. I feel like my knight's better employed on this side of the board. I don't really want to waste it in defence. Okay, so the whole game has changed a bit now. I'm thinking rook g3. Queen comes into this square. Again, you see with that h6 pawn push. I can't remember if he was forced to do that, but you know, it gives me g6. Queen g6. Goodness sake. and then dum dum, and that prevents rook coming there. I mean, you never know, right? Queen in, he puts rook here, my knight comes in, his knight comes in, think he's going to attack, my knight comes to here hitting his rook. What's he going to do? If he puts his rook back, he gets checkmated. So that's quite four moves for a very strong attacking position. Also, we have potentially knight d7, forking queen and rook. This knight moves. So, you know, there's mileage in this position. Opponent is taking his time. He spent 1 minute 21 recently, then 26 and 4 seconds. 43, 9, 6, 19, 20, 20. You know, 6 minutes doesn't go a long way if you're spending 30 seconds on each move. And I'm using his time to figure out a strategy. So one general rule is use your opponent's time to think about the strategy of the game. Use your time to think tactically, short term. And he's on 5.5 now. He's having a jolly good think. He's having a jolly good thinkaroo. Okay, here. If knight here, just lift. And then remember, I have this. So I've already sorted out some moves that I'm confident are not wrong. Oh, there is a potential issue. Should my queen move? Then rook takes c3 is the thought, because that may not be, because I only ever want the one rook on the back rank. I mean, right now the knight defends that. And actually the queen defends that. In fact, if the queen is on g6, she still defends the rook, so I don't have to worry too much. So this is the plan, man. Now he's under 5 minutes. Patvinder, I will crush you like a bug. No blunders. No blunders. No blunders. 4.5 minutes now. Hang on, he took nearly 4 minutes over that last move. Slow thinking, huh? But it is still an increment game. It's a 15 plus 10 second increment. So if my opponent is allowed to get a winning position, where we get pawn races and all that kind of stuff, he could build himself another 3 minutes. Oh, Jesus, what? Okay, now this trap, the rook is trapped. That's what I'm threatening. Now he's on 410, right? I am making my moves quickly. I know this, right? Okay, there he goes. Oh, now his rook has some scope. I'm not worried about this, I'm not worried about this. I'm going to lift my rook. Okay. That's a decent move, actually, because he's blocking my queen's access to there. But this is still a threat with that fork, right? Even if he can move out of this, right? He can move his rook to either of those two squares, but then I still have that. And now he's in 4 minutes. He made that move in 5 seconds. Previous two moves are 3:56 and 1:36. And you don't get a lot of change from 3 minutes 47 seconds if you're playing at that speed. So here we are again, using the clock as a weapon. Okay, now this rook's come over here now, so I'm not worried about this c3 issue so much now. If I eradicate the knight, queen's kind of out of commission a little bit. 3 minutes 15, 3 minutes 12. Turn. This is good. If he comes here, of course, it's a three-way fork. I'm going straight in. Not even going to think too hard about that. Again, boom, the ball is back in your court. I have many options here. Don't know about that. Doesn't seem to make it. This pawn's undefended. This pawn is undefended. Let's goldfish while we're here. Okay, so there's your undefended things there. Huh. That pawn is pinned. If I go here, are you going to take? What's the point of going there? Not much, really. There? Nah. Well, at least it's kind of forcing, you know? I don't think he's going to take and give up the exchange. He will then be behind in material, still with a bad bishop. Right, because look at my pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that guy. 6 of my 8 pawns. I still have all my pawns. Very rare to finish a game with all your pawns. Very rare to win a game with all your pawns. What are you going to do? You're going to go back there? 2 minutes 20. I don't want that bishop. That's a rotten bishop. Now, here though, c4... I think will cause you problems. I'm just checking. He can't go here. He can't go here. That's not fantastic. If the pawn takes, I win the knight. Double defend my own knight. 2 minutes 15. The clock is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock. It just got real, eh? But if I take and he takes, cui bono, who benefits? I have to push b3 as well. What do you mean reconnecting? Okay, so we're back and he's moved his king. Right. And he's got 1 minute 56. Okay, this is a tender spot. If I move my knight, his knight is then pinned because he's moved his king in line with that. So if I take here, how can I assault his knight? I don't know. I can't easily. Knight here, knight here, knight here is the thought. I mean, it's a good square for the knight anyway. 1, 2. And this knight is actually pinned. So I'm threatening to take him. Pawn takes, queen takes, check. Thought, and this king is starting to look somewhat vulnerable now. You might have to push g6. My king is still guarding the f2 square. 1 minute 45 seconds. Okay, the knight is pinned now. I can't do anything. I'm threatening to win back my pawn. I'm 1 pawn down. Here takes. He's in check. He might have to push that. Not looking fantastic. I'm thinking also c5 maybe at some point just to inhibit this bishop a little bit. But we might be dirty flagging here. Come on, Hunty. There. He takes. I'm going to pre-move the recapture. That comes to check. So this pawn is not hanging whatsoever, and I'm going to push b3 maybe and reinforce it. I'm still down a piece, but I have 3 more pawns than my opponent. 1 minute 35. This is defended only by the queen. Let's goldfish. Okay. Gut instinct says that. Queen defends the rook. My rook is on a light square. In fact, all my important pieces, apart from His Majesty, are on light squares. This is not an issue. This we do not worry about. I have h4. Okay, we want an attacking idea now. g3, h4. Puts the bishop back in its box up here. g3 is not a bad move anyway. Rook can't come in, there's no issues with that. So yes, he has an extra bishop, but you know, once I get everything on light squares, that bishop might as well not be there. It can pass through all the walls, it can walk around, but it can't interact with anything. It has become a ghost. And just like that, he was gone. Woman 18. And these, I've actually got 3 passed pawns, okay? Look, empty file as far as black is concerned. There's no pawns. That makes these guys, all of them, passed pawns. So my focus, I think, right now just needs to be crushing my way up the board with those pawns. Okay, not sure about that idea. What do we do? Do we push? Do I play h4? If h4, he can't go there. h4, he's going to go back here or here. And yeah. I really want to put pressure on this g7 pawn as well. He's down to a minute. Come on, auntie. You got to want it, haven't you? Makes a big difference, man. Because I'm nice, right? And being nice isn't... Being nice over the chessboard is not very much of an advantage, right? You know, I'm sure Grandmaster Yasser Seirawan is lovely. He's got the kindest, loveliest voice, but I bet he's What? You sack your bishop? But why? Ah, you want... Okay. If I do that... Hang on, if I do that, there's a potential discovery here. I don't get it, though. I don't get how you do that. I take your rook, you take my rook. I think he's getting desperate. He should be. He's down to 30 seconds. I've got 5 minutes. That would be a lovely move to get in, breaking the queen's defense of that rook. 20 seconds. Okay, well, you're attacking my queen. I take, you take, stick my king here. I'm up 2 pawns now because he's sacked his piece. I'm up 2 pawns, therefore I'm going to trade. Okay. Here, and there's no checks. He can't check there, he can't check there because of queen. He's down to 35 seconds again. I think what I would like... Okay, he wants to put his rook in here. Fair enough. But I've got plenty of time to come up with a cunning plan. Like, okay, rook e1. No, he does this. I think I have to cover that square, so I think I really need to drop my queen back. I can't play rook f1, so dropping the queen back. He does this, I go here. This. Here, here. Kind of out of checks. I can come back to here and defend the pawn, can't I? Now he's getting aggressive, you see. But I mean, he's got nothing to lose. I think if I get rook to there, this is a fork on king and queen, which forces the queens off the board. If I can force the queens off the board, I want to get my king back to g2, actually, to stop the rook from coming to f2 with a fork. He could play that move now. I come back. He takes this pawn. I also have this move potential. Yeah, there we go. Okay. He can have that pawn. I'm going to play rook here. No! Brilliant! That's mate. Oh! Wow. Wow. And suddenly he started playing quicker. That was genius. You see the power of getting in onto the 7th rank. So what did I do wrong there? I was winning. And that just threw it. Best move. Defend the pawn with the rook. And then I had this. Lazy, clumsy, silly play. But damn enjoyable game. So there you go. And that's a cue for me to go and look into c5 from the normal opening position in the Jobava London as well. But yeah, let's just check this again. So from this position, I played a lazy move there and that walked into this, right? If I'd have done this move, he does that, I have that. And we're still better. I need to be more of a bastard. Over the chessboard, basically it. And that was the only best move on the board and actually winning. So again, Hunty takes his foot off the gas at the last minute. My opponent was right up against it, right on the ropes, on the clock. He was worse on the board. I was 2 pawns up. I had complete pass pawn on d5. And I blew it again. But there you go. Point is, do you learn the lesson from it? Hope so. Thanks for watching and see you later.